used an ox as their transport, right? So they were stuck. They couldn't go anywhere. So this can be compared to someone removing the tires of your car while you are on a journey in a remote area. How would you move?
I can see the difficulty to that, yeah.
Yes, it would be very, very difficult, right? But the nice thing is that the Baroleng people helped the Voortrekkers by giving them food and oxygen. Now, Paul Kruger, the small boy, okay, now it's so busy now because Paul Kruger, who later became president of South African Republic, also fought in this battle, was also in the battle at 11 years. Yes. Now, panel number 6. So the Voortrekkers wanted to live under a well-organized government, just like any community. So they chose their leaders through voting when needed. So that panel, that one there behind Kenny, so that is where this is when Piet Retief was inaugurated as the first governor of the Voortrekkers. And the Voortrekkers chose him because he was a neutral and respected leader. Okay, all right. Now, panel number 7. Remember that in panel number 5, I spoke about the Battle of Verkop, right? So the Voortrekkers launched an attack, and on the Mzilakazis Ndebele to recover their stolen animals, and they succeeded. The second battle shown in panel number 7 was the Battle of the Gabeni campaign in November 1837, and it lasted all 9 days, more than a week. That's a lot, eh? And the Ndebele's royal village, the Gabeni, in the Mariko Valley, was destroyed. The Ndebele's then used trained oxen with sharpened the horns of the cattle, but that didn't work well because when the Voortrekkers started shooting, the animals had the gunpowder. They're shooting the loud noise of the gun, they scattered. So that plan didn't work. Then after the animals got scared and scattered, the Ndebele's fled across the Limpopo River and started a new capital of Bulawayo into today's Zimbabwe. And this was the only battle where men and horses fought against oxen. Now, panel number 8. So both Peter and his group now were very thankful. It's that one there next to the door. They were very thankful now for the help they received from the Baroleng, right? And gave them gifts to show their appreciation. I think now we can get So this is the panel that I'm referring to, right? Yes. And you can see the gifts, what is it called? Berries? Knock berries. It's a traditional club. I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
Knopkiri.
Knopkiri. Okay. And now the top picture in panel, just above the door, it shows the everyday life of the Voortrekkers. So the everyday life of the Voortrekkers. It's actually with children playing. That's that one. Children playing, girls with red dolls and boys using animal bones as toys. Now, Piet Retief's daughter, Deborah, she painted her dad's name on the stone, and his name still appears on the stone until today. Right. Now, we go to panel.
Et là, il y a un problème très sensible.
Okay. So the panel of the children playing is that one day. See with the dog and Deborah's and Petratif's daughter. They're writing on the wall, on the stone. Right. Now we go to panel number 12. So here now, panel number 12, this one now, it shows the signing of the treaty between King Dingaan and Piet Retief. This happened on the 4th of February of 1838. So here King Dingaan is sitting on a wooden chair, which is this one here, right? Piet Retief here, right? The man with the hat. And you're probably wondering, one is Zulu, the other is Afrikaans. How did they communicate? How do you think they communicated? Who's got an idea?
Maybe they would show each other items or display what they wanted to achieve and so forth.
Oh, there was an interpreter. His name is Thomas Helsford. So the interpreter is the man without a hat.
Oh, okay.
So the man without a hat, and you see up there, you see amongst the men with the hat, the man without the hat.
Yes.
So that's Thomas. So, the boy standing behind Piet Retief, that's his son, right? Piet Retief's son. And Piet Retief's son, sorry, no, he's the one standing in front of him. And Dingaan's advisors are all standing. Can you see the different cultures here?
Yes.
So Dingaan's people, they're all kneeling down, all right? And you can see they're all standing there with their hats. And in many African cultures, you know, going to someone's house, especially a king's house, wearing a hat, that's in the sign of disrespect, right? Yes. So do you see the young boy behind King Dingaan with his hands like this, kneeling down?
Yes.
So he's got his hands cupped up. He's there to actually catch the saliva, the spit of the king, because the king was a very superstitious man. So he thought if his spit touched the ground, that that might be used as witchcraft. Yeah. So after signing the treaty, after signing, Piet Retief put the treaty in his leather bag that he's carrying right there. Right? Okay. Are you guys still okay?
Yes.
How much time?
It's okay.
Sorry?
Yes, still good.
Okay. All right. So now panel number 13. This one here. Okay. Now it's clear. Something went wrong here, right? So 2 days after signing the treaty. Now this happened on the 6th of February. King Dingaan invited Piet Retief and his men to celebrate the signing of the treaty. Everybody was happy, dancing, singing, eating. But during that event, Dingaan gave the order, Ulalani Abatakat. Does anybody know what that means?
Kill the witches.
Exactly, that's what he said. So Piet Retief, together with his men, he's included also some colored men also in the group. They were all stoned. They were all taken to a nearby hill called Kwa Matiwani, Hill of Death. And they were killed with sticks, as you can see. Horrible death. Killed with sticks and stones. And poor Piet Retief had to watch his son die. And there was nothing he could do. And one of the reasons, some say that Dingaan likely feared that the Voortrekkers, especially seeing how strong they were and how successful they were in the past, they would, decided, okay, they were a threat. It's probably best to get rid of them. Okay. Now let's move on to our panel number 14. So after Piet Retief and his men were killed, guess what King Dingaan did? So he ordered his warriors to go after the women and the children in the Nag. And they killed a lot of them. And the attack So they attacked the Blokranz and the Verin. So Blokranz and Verin. So around 10,000 Zulu warriors launched a surprise attack and they killed about 500 people, as you can see here. Okay, now panel number 50 is one of my personal favorite panels. Not because I favor men more, but because we've got a female heroine. Teresa Viglioni, she was a very courageous woman, Italian woman. She rode through the night, as you can see on her horse, to warn the other Voortrekkers about the approaching Zulu attack. Thanks to her bravery, many lives were saved. So you can probably imagine she probably jumped in the horse and she went hee-ha, hee-ha, like Zina, if you know the story of Zina, right? Okay, now on panel, so these panels are actually not in order. The panels are not in order. Sometimes I get a bit confused. Okay, so now we are here on panel 17, this one behind, not the door. So there we find a young hero. So we saw heroes, male heroes. We saw a woman, Laos, as a child. It's a youngster, a 16-year-old. So his name was Martinus Oosthuizen. So he was out collecting horses from the Van Rensburg lager. When Zulus attacked the Van Rensburgs, he went out of the gunpowder and were trapped. So what he did is that he rode the horse through hundreds of Zulu warriors to bring more gunpowder. And thanks to his courage, the Van Rensburg family was saved. Okay, now panel number 18 here. So, can you see the faces of the men? How do they look?
But despondent, dejected.
Yes. Because now imagine, they went through a lot. And now they were thinking, they were tired, they were exhausted, probably depressed. And now they were thinking of going back. But can you see the important role women had here? Comforting their husbands and saying to the husbands, no, honey, we've come a long way. We went through so much, there is no way we are going back. We are going to carry on. And the panel also highlights, you see the woman with her hand? Susanna Smith. She said, I would rather walk barefoot over the Drakensberg than live under the British rule. And the woman encouraged men to carry on. So, what happened after that? Okay, to carry on, right?
Yes.
So the Voortrekkers now we're thinking, because Piet Retief, remember, got killed. So now they need a new leader. So they knew Andries Pretorius, because Andries Pretorius sometimes frequently visited the Voortrekkers, and they heard stories about his, his successful battles, helps the British, with the forces. So they asked him to be their leader, and he happily accepted. As you can see, so it's the tall man with the hat, and you can see the women probably thinking, oh, finally, we've got a hero, someone that will come save us. So they're probably admiring his looks, his height, or his posture, or whatever. But yeah, so you can see it's very clear from there. All right, and now we come to panel number 20. So we hear that the Voortrekkers were people of faith, they were very religious people. They believed in God. They had strong faith. So here they made a special promise, called a vow to God. They said that if God helped them defeat and win the battle, they would always remember that day. They promised that they would thank Him every year, and they would build a church for Him, And they made this promise on the 9th of December of 1838, and said it again until the 15th of December. So everyone in the group took part, as you can see, right?
Yes.
And in the picture, so you see the man there, that's Cyril Celius, standing on a cannon there, right? Called Ricky. Yes, he made the this crocus. Okay. So on panel number 21, there you see this is now the 15th of December of 1838. Pretorius and his men found out that the Zulu army were close by, and that it was a big number, outnumbered the Voortrekkers. And the Voortrekkers were not worried. They're like, we've got a great leader.
Yes.
You know, we've got an experienced leader, a great strategist. And he was a very clever man, a very good strategist. So what he did is that he made a lager, you know, like a circle with 64 wagons shaped like, sorry, this time not like a circle, but like a capital D, like a capital D. So the women, the children, and the livestock were protected inside. And then he chose a spot next to a deep part next to the I've downloaded a short video that I'll show you after the tour, what it looked like. And this made it very hard for the enemies to attack from that side, because in front of the lager it was open. So if any of the Zulus tried to reach out or go close to the Voortrekkers, they'd get attacked, they'd be seen, there was no trees and no rocks for them to hide. So this made it easier for the Voortrekkers to see and stop them and to get to the Voortrekkers. And the Zulus also had to cross the river. Around 3,000 Zulus warriors were killed that night. They were killed that night. So a lot happened. They were killed at night, and the blood and the river was filled with so much blood that it turned red. So that is why it was called the Blood River, the Battle of the Blood River. And that was a very big, huge moment for the Voortrekkers, because they believed that it was a divine intervention, that God had made a covenant with them, right? They had made previously a covenant or a promise to God that if they won the battle, you know, they would thank him every year on the 16th of December, 1838. Okay, now we move on to panel number 22. So the vow that they made before the battle, they said they would build a church, right? So now, as you can see, this is now the building of the church. And you can see the men are busy, you know, doing the woodwork and everything, you know, as they promised. And this church was built in 1840 in Pietermaritzburg. So this panel shows that the church, one important detail is that the man on the left of the panel is based on Gerard. It's Gerard, the person who designed the Voortrekker Monument. It's not this. That's not the monument. This is right. Okay. Now panel number 23. It shows now that, can you see that it's mostly women here?
Yes.
Now the women are running the line. So the men went, you know, scouting, right? Leaving for scouting trip, and the women stayed behind, and they worked very hard, planting wheat and vegetables. So this is why it was called cider. I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation, which means sowing lager. Alright, now panel number. We've seen about that one. Okay, we're now in panel number 3. So here was the inauguration of the Zulu king, right? King Hande. So it shows him, he's standing on the big rock. Can you see the big rock?
Yes.
So, and next to him, it's Andres Theater, right? So when the Voortrekkers, yes, so can you see that the Voortrekkers on the right, yeah. So the Voortrekkers take off their hats, you know, to show respect, while the Zulu warriors shout, Bayete. I'm sure you've heard the word Bayete.
Yes.
You know what it means?
Is it long look?
It's a royal greeting, meaning hail to the king, right? Okay, all right. Now panel number 26. Unfortunately, we will not be able to be close because of the the chairs. Okay, so after losing the battle of the Blood River, so King Dingaan fled with some of his wives from the town to Swaziland. And when he got there, he was killed by Swazi warriors in March 1840, as you can see. So this panel is here to depict the difference between how the Zulus and how the Swazis dress traditional clothing. Can you tell, do you know the difference between the two? The Zulus and the Swazis?
The attire.
Yes.
The Zulus have less on, and then the Swatis are covered, like it looks like a skirt. And then they don't have anything on their heads, like the Zulus do. And they've got.
So the man down, that's the man down, you know who it is, right?
That's the king.
Yes, that's right. Okay, and now panel 26. Now we see the Voortrekkers leaving, but you're wondering why they're leaving. After so much work, after everything they went through, they should be happy. Well, unfortunately, guess what happened? The British moved over. And this one was after they had their own government. They even had their own flag. So they were happy. They had the freedom that they fought for a very long time. But in 1843, the British came and took over. Right. So many Voortrekkers did not want to be under the British rule. Because remember, that is one of the reasons why they left. One of the reasons why they left in the first place, they came colony. Because they were not happy. So this panel shows the Voortrekkers on the journey back over the Drakensberg mountain. Right? They didn't want to leave under the British rule. So you can see it was a very difficult journey. Can you see?
Yes.
Over the mountains, with the big rocks. So what they did, because it was the road was not good, they removed the back wheels because the back wheels were bigger than the front wheels, you know, and also to just make it easier or bearable for the oxen to pull the wagon, because the weight was just too much. You know, it would be unfair for the poor animals. And some Voortrekkers even dismantled the wagons and carried them on their shoulders. So you can imagine that. So now we reach the final panel of our Voice of Hero, panel number 27. So, good news. What is the good news there? So that panel shows how the journey ends. Does it end well? Does it end in success? What do you think?
It looks like it ended in peace.
Looks like they're signing a peace treaty between the British and the...
Yes. So finally, in January 1852, the Sand River Convention was signed. Two British officials and Andries Pretorius, representing the Voortrekkers, agreed that Britain would recognize the independence of the land north of the Vaal River, called the Transvaal. This led to the creation of the new country called the Zuid-Afrikaanse Republic. Sorry, my Afrikaans is terrible. Then in February 1854, the Bloemfontein Convention was signed and made the Free State an independent country too, called the Orange Free State. Isn't that a happy ending for the Voortrekkers?
Yes.
Yes, it was. So we're not yet, we're almost done with how much time do we have?
I think you have 10 minutes left.
About 10 minutes. Okay. So before we leave, I just wanted to quickly show you something very interesting, which is considered the heart of this monument, which is right here. I'm not going to get too close because I'm afraid of heights, but you're more than welcome to take a look at the stairs. So if you want to go downstairs, you can either take the stairs on the left, or you can take the stairs on the right. And there's a lot of things to look at downstairs. There's paintings, tapestries that tell more about the day-to-day life of the Voortrekkers. So the cenotaph there, right, it means empty grave. It represents all the lives that were lost during the trek of the Voortrekkers, right? And the words carved there, ons vir jou South Africa, we for you South Africa. So what happens is that thousands of Afrikaners come here on the 16th of December of every year, and something very special happens at 12 noon. So there's a light that shines from there to down there. So that is seen as a symbol of approval from God. Because remember, thousands of Afrikaners made a vow that every year, the 16th of December, if they won the battle, the Blood River, they would remember him, they would thank him. So that is what they do. All right. Okay, so this is the end of our tours. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask. And like I mentioned, there's still a lot to see. So if you go down, you'll find a lot of beautiful paintings and tapestries that show the day-to-day life. But I think today it will be a bit tricky. I believe we all have to be out of here by 12 o'clock. So we have to wrap it up. So thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the Voortrekker Monument. Yes, we've seen the monument is not just a tribute to the Voortrekker struggles and achievements during the Great Trek, but also a symbol of perseverance, of faith, and the desire for self-determination. So from the detailed marble friezes that we saw, the 27 marble friezes, it tells a story. Each part tells a story of their hardship, bravery, and hope. It's not just a place only for Voortrekkers, but it's a place that invites all South Africans to come and learn about the complex past and to appreciate the many cultures and history that present our future, our present. So one of the lessons that I learned from the Voortrekkers is that, they faced a lot of hardships. They lost families, they lost friends, they were constantly attacked, they went through a lot, but they kept going. So this reminds me to stay strong despite any hardship. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.